Welcome to The Snug, where we shine a soft light on difficult topics and life experiences with compassion, hope, and just the right amount of humor. And today I have a very special guest, my sister in all things dark and Eastern European, Tina Langseth. Welcome, Tina. Thanks for being here today.
I am so happy to be here this morning, Vera. Thank you.
So, as you know, we can discuss a multitude of topics, and we will in the future. But today I decided just to focus on your perfect divorce.
Okay.
And I chose this topic because you have such a unique family, and I'm always in awe of everything that you guys are together. But particularly around the holidays is when I'm cognizant of your family's uniqueness. And so, since we just passed the holiday season, I thought we would start there and venture into your perfect divorce. Tina, let's start with a little background. Tell us about your husband, how many kids, how long you were
Okay.
married, and then finally, kind of what makes your divorce unique.
Okay. Ryan and I were married in 1986 and we divorced in 1999. So we were married for 13 years. We have two kids, Ian, who is 35, and Sophie, who is 33. And we live probably a mile from each other in this little neighborhood called Linden Hills in southwest Minneapolis that we've lived in forever, and we all absolutely love it here. Ian lives in Linden Hills as well. Sophie and her husband Andrew live in Bloomington, which is not far from here.
Okay, so you were
Yeah,
married for 13 years, and
correct.
tell us a little bit about how was the marriage for those 13 years?
Well, I think I felt really good about our marriage for probably, I would say, 10 or 11 of those years. Um, 10 or 11 years into our marriage, my ex-husband, started to question his sexuality. And he thought that he was bisexual. And so we were trying to work through that, trying to understand, what does that mean? What does that mean for being married? What does that mean for everything, really? And it was a little rocky, just because it was new information and uh, something to work through. But as we kept going through this, I think he was beginning to realize, and I was as well, that he was actually gay and not bisexual.
Okay, we've talked
And
about this. Yes,
yes,
that process that you guys had to go through together.
right. So
Talk
we,
a little
right.
bit about that.
Sure. So we started to go to counseling
Mhm.
and just to kind of figure out, like, we still loved each other. That wasn't the issue. We still loved each other. Our kids were little. We had a great little family. Um, but this was obviously an issue that needed to be addressed, and Ryan needed to go on some self-discovery. And so we started seeing a therapist, and ironically, this therapist was also gay, but had been married, got divorced, and lived very close to his ex-wife so their kids could go back and forth. And it's interesting because he sort of became the role model for what we wanted to do
Did you know
post-divorce.
this about him?
I It was the luck of the draw,
What?
honestly. I knew no background information other than someone said, "Yeah, he's really good."
As a
And
marriage
I thought,
counselor, just as a
"Yeah,
marriage counselor.
yep, yep." And it was so freaky when he started talking about his background.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, so Ryan, I can relate to you. I understand what you're going through." And I thought, how did this happen? This was fate that we met this guy. And he was very good. He was very gentle, very caring, listened very well. He just was an excellent, excellent counselor.
Oh my
And
God.
so, anyway, through the course of the meetings that we had with him, it started to become clearer and clearer that Ryan actually was gay and not bisexual.
That was clear to
And
you, right? Because you were the first one that kind of,
I mean, yes, even though I think I was probably not in denial, but it was just so heartbreaking that this would affect what we had. And so for me, I was more sad than anything. And and I think that Ryan was slowly coming to terms with, yeah, this is what's happening. But again, he did not want to hurt anybody. He didn't want to hurt me. He didn't want to hurt the kids. He didn't it was just gruesome, really. It was just so sad. And so anyway, at some point, we started talking about how if he was gay or if he was bisexual, what would that mean for our marriage? And I just made it very clear to him. I said, I am a monogamous person. No matter if it's a male or female, I can't tolerate you being with someone else. That's just, and it's not about sin or morality or anything like that. It's just about that's how I function.
Mhm.
And so I told him, I said, if you ever are with somebody, you have to tell me because then I'll know that this marriage is over and we have to proceed to the next step. And he said, okay. And so one morning, he was in the kitchen and I could see the look on his face. And I just kind of knew in my gut. And he told me I was with somebody. And we stood in our kitchen and we held on to each other. We hugged and cried because we knew that was going to have to be the end.
Wow.
And it was very sad.
Yeah.
More than anything, it was just like, oh, damn it. Why did this have to happen?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was rough, but it was rough and what? Positive, if I can use that word, at the same time, because it needed to happen. It needed to go forward in some way. It needed to move.
Mhm.
And so this was when we started talking about, okay, well then what does this look like? We talked about separation. He moved out into his own apartment, and then we probably about a year after he separated, we started the official divorce proceedings.
What I find so interesting about your story too is that you kind of led the way you thought about yourself so much in this. Like a lot of times it seems like okay, they're struggling with being gay and all that, like it's this whole thing, right? But like I
Right.
love how you kept yourself as a focus too. Like what about me and what do I need? You know?
Yeah, that wasn't easy.
No, and he didn't really figure it out for a while, right? That he was actually gay,
Yes.
gay, like not
Yeah.
bi. But
Right.
you were still holding on to, okay, this is what I need though, while you're,
Yes.
because he was going to maybe just stick with, right? Maybe just stay married or,
Oh, I mean, we had many conversations where I think just because we didn't want to go through this and put this on the kids, it was like,
yeah.
well, can we make this work somehow? Can
Mm.
we? I mean, there have been lavender marriages throughout time and space, and I thought about that. Can I be in a lavender marriage? Can I be with somebody who I will never be sexual with again, but we still function as parents, as partners, etc. And I just decided for myself, no, I can't do that. And it wasn't because I think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's fine for some people. But for me, it was like, no. And I think Ryan just entertained all of that because he didn't want to go through this. We didn't want to do this to the kids. And it was really hard.
And then you kind of helped him. You used the term pushed him over the fence.
I did. I guess I did because, he was waffling
Yeah.
and he was saying, well, no, maybe I'm bi. Well, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. And I got to the point where I thought, I don't I don't want to do that part of this anymore. I want him to decide, right? Because really, I'm kind of waiting for him to decide what he needs going forward
Hmm.
before I can decide what I need.
Hmm.
And so yeah, he was on the fence and he was waffling and he was going back and forth. And I decided to, push him off the fence. And
Well,
I we had a conversation and I said, look, I need you to tell me what's the real deal here. And the question I asked him, which now I look back on and I think, God, it was so stupid and hilarious. I said, if you had 10 men and 10 women lined up, they're all very attractive, they're all very good looking people. And you've got the men on the one side and the women on the other side. Which group would you go to? And before I could even get the last word out of my mouth, he said, oh, the men. And I thought, okay, good. Well, now we've got some clarity. All right, excellent.
he's a
And
visual guy, so you made it all visual for him, right?
I did because he's an artist, yes. And I mean, maybe it was cruel. Maybe he saw it as cruel at the time, or I don't know what. But I think it just kickstarted the whole thing,
Yeah.
which needed to happen. It's like, okay. And then, of course, when he said he had been with somebody, I knew that was the end. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a process for sure.
So then how, because you guys didn't go through anybody, you didn't do any mediation or
No,
courts, nothing. So
oh no, no,
talk
we
about
filed the
that a little.
paperwork on our own. We didn't have lawyers. It wasn't necessary because we knew that, I mean, we were friends. We were friends first and we're still friends. And we knew at the time that we wanted to have this be as painless as possible for the kids. And there was no acrimony in terms of who gets what or who owns what. There was none of it. We didn't care.
Just
I mean, it was just like, you take what you want, I'll take what I want, and we'll figure it out. It was just
luckily
not a big deal.
you love forms and all that stuff,
I
right?
do.
So
Yeah, so
I'm
I
just
ser
I
I
don't
served as our own attorney, pro se.
you
I
served as
filed
your
all the paperwork.
I mean, because you
We
know a
didn't
lot
have
of
anybody
people.
represent us. I thought it was fun.
Yes. Mm.
I had always thought about law school in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this can't be that difficult. So I just followed the rules and did what they asked and filed the paperwork. And we did it together. We went to the courthouse together and we filed the paperwork. And I don't remember how much it was at the time, but it wasn't that much. And then we went out for coffee after. And it's like, well, all right, that's it, that's done.
Whatever.
And then when we had to, then after everything was processed and we got a court date to go before the judge, we still didn't have any representation. We just went ourselves and everything was split down the middle.
Mhm.
For custody, we decided that we wanted 50-50 custody because that only seemed fair. And but it was against the norm at the time. I mean, a lot of people didn't do that. They had a primary and a secondary. And we said, no, that's not going to work for us because we are ultimately parents to both of these children and they should have both parents. And so what our divorce settlement, if you can call it that, or our custody situation was that we had 50-50 custody and I would pay for um, Sophie's health insurance, Sophie's anything, all of her bills,
Mhm.
and Ryan would pay for all of Ian's bills. And so that's how we kind of, came up with that. But there was no alimony. There was nobody paid each other anything. It was all about the kids.
Oh, wow. And they were young.
They were young. Sophie was in preschool,
Oh,
actually,
wow. Okay.
and Ian was 2 years older. I think he was in like second grade.
So clearly you couldn't have the full conversation about the divorce, why you were getting divorced. So how did like the full like the whole thing about Ryan being gay and with that age group. So how did you help them along as they got older, understanding the full extent of your divorce? Because now it's completely out in the open with them. But how
Oh,
was that
sure.
process?
I think, I mean, if I remember this correctly, I'll have to ask Ryan to refresh my memory because my memory's
He'll,
not so
he'll
great. But
see this.
yeah, and I think that what we did was focus on, again, on them and trying to keep their lives as normal as possible. I remember when we told the kids that dad was going to move out, that he was going to get his own apartment. That was hard because, for Sophie, I don't think she was old enough to really get it. But Ian, who's always been a great thinker and feeler, um, was very touched by all of that. And after we explained everything, we still love each other. We still love you. We just are going to live separately. This is what broke my heart. Ian said, I just need time to myself.
Oh,
And he went up to his room for a while and it just crushed me. But I
yeah.
thought, we had to rip this band-aid off. We just had to. It does nobody any good to continue this farce.
And the thing is, so many times divorce, it's because, they're angry at each other, and
Right,
there's all these situations where it's just not amicable. And you have
right.
this perfectly very legit reason why you're getting a divorce, and you can't explain it to them because they're too little, right? So you have to,
Well, I mean, I think if I recall, uh, as we went along, I believe that we basically just said, I don't know if this was right away, but I think as things progressed and after
yeah,
dad moved out and all of
yeah,
that, I think we were just very upfront and said,
yeah.
well, dad is a gay.
Okay.
And the thing is, we had many gay friends. So they knew what that meant. That was not a big deal. And I think it was just sort of like, oh, okay, well, this is now how I'm going to frame this.
Mhm.
And completely understanding, completely accepting of that moving forward. Just it was not that part of it, I don't think was traumatic for them. I think what was traumatic was just all the changes coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And yeah, and that at least you could show them that this is amicable. This is just something that had to happen. It's not because you hate
right,
each other.
right,
Now,
exactly.
you went through a lot on your own after, right? Processing, and you went to some
Yeah,
groups. What
yes.
you talked about, I remember you telling me about a group that you didn't like very much because they were angry or something.
Oh, they were so angry. Well, I mean, and again, we were really trying to, we really were trying to do it so that it was not that divorce is necessarily positive, but just trying to make it less negative, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mhm.
And so I did have some anger. I was angry just because it came to this. And I don't want to say I was angry at Ryan for coming out, but I was angry at how this would change our lives.
Sure.
Right. Um, so I went to this support group. So it was all these people who had been in marriages and their partners had come out. And I thought, wow, that's me to a T. Let's go to that. I went to a few and I was so turned off by it because everybody was so angry
Yeah.
and so focused on their anger and not on healing
Yeah.
and
Okay.
getting over this or getting to the other side of it. It was just one big bitch fest.
Yeah.
And I said that during one of the meetings. I said, this is not really what I need right now. I need people who can project a positive outcome and can look at what happens and how you proceed. And there was a woman there who just, she was so snarky and so angry. And she said, well, then you don't belong here. And I said, yeah, I think you're right about that. And I left and I never went back.
Yeah,
It was just too negative.
sure.
And I understand some people, it throws them for a loop. I guess for me, it was like, well, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised, but I am upset.
Yeah.
And so I thought, how do I deal with that with all these angry people? Well, I can't do that.
Mhm.
So then I got this book called The Other Side of the Closet.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I dug around. I went to the library. I tried to look up all this stuff. I just really wanted information. That's who I am.
Yeah, you are
I'm all about
information.
information.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I've got to know what this means for people and how they deal with it. So I got this book, and it was an excellent book. It was written in, I think, 91 or 94 or something like that. So it had come out right around the time right around the time before we were going through this. Anyway, it was just so pragmatic and so positive. And I thought, okay, that's what I need. So I read this book, and it just really helped me to understand that, first of all, I wasn't the only person going through this. I was amazed at how many couples this happens to. I just was dumbfounded. And so that helped because I really at first felt all alone. But then later I just thought, yeah, it happens. I mean, people suppress their sexuality consciously or unconsciously because they want marriage, they want children, they want to live a quote unquote normal life. And it's not a bad thing. It just is.
So now your
Yes.
family, I mean, you guys just blow me away. So you live, you live like on top of each other, right?
Yeah. We live in the same neighborhood. Yes.
Ryan has found a partner.
Yes, he has. Yes.
Okay.
And and his partner, let's see, he's been with him for, oh God, I want to say 15 years, or maybe it's longer than that. It's been a while. Um, and what's really interesting is after Ryan came out and after we separated and whatever, he had a partner for many years. And we just kind of like incorporated him into the family. The kids loved him. He was, I thought he was great, and we just all had a blast together. And then when that ended, then he met his current partner, and again, it was like, well, okay, he's part of the family. We are a family. This is what's so weird, and people have a hard time understanding this. We're a family. My ex-husband, his partner, and our children. We are a family. And so we spend holidays together. We've gone on vacations together. We help each other out. Ryan cleans my house. He's my house cleaner. And I for years and years he'd clean my house and I'd do his taxes. I mean, we are always finding ways to just help each other. And it
Really?
works.
And when you go over for the holidays, right? It's a big feast.
Oh, I mean, I've always said this, Vera, I have the best divorce in the world because
Yes, you do.
I don't really have to lift a finger. I mean, these gay guys, they just like the holidays are crazy fabulous. They're just and Ryan is an excellent cook. He's always been an excellent cook. And so those holidays are so special to me, partially because I just get to go there and be a part of it, and I don't really have to do the work. I usually give Ryan some money to help
Yeah.
pay for the food. And to me, it's like, yeah, because I don't cook. I hate cooking. And so this works out pretty well. Yeah, we have a blast together.
And like you said, you do his taxes, you do, you
We
know,
we know we've done this forever. I mean, again, we were friends first, and I think that's a huge piece here.
when you
We
first
were
met.
Yes, we were introduced by a friend and a mutual friend, and it just kind of blossomed after that. But it was friendship first.
That's amazing. So, what would you want to pass on to whoever is listening to this?
Well,
What do you want them to?
if your partner is gay, they're gay. They're, that's not going to change.
There,
And so don't delude yourself and think that you can make it work. And maybe you can. Again,
right.
maybe you're up for a lavender marriage. I don't know, but that fact will not change once they come out. It will never change. Ryan has never been with anyone other than a man since we separated.
Mhm.
So he needed to do that. He needed to find out, okay, this is who I am. What do I do with myself now? And how do I live my life and continue to have a relationship
Uh-huh.
with someone I was married to and thought that we would be married forever, but now it's very different. So I would just say my advice would be try to keep it as positive as possible.
Mhm.
Focus on your children. They they're the innocent people in all of this.
Mhm.
And they need to know that no matter what, their parents love them and will do whatever they can to allow them to have a healthy, happy childhood. And it was nice. And I remember because a lot of people, oh, I was a child of divorce. And holidays were always tricky because my parents did not have a good divorce. And so there was always animosity and who was going to be with who and what days. And it was just so stressful. And so we eliminated all of that because we just did the holidays together. And I think for the kids that felt secure and safe.
Ah,
And they didn't have to choose. So, again, I would just say remain positive. Even though you might be angry or hurt, it will work itself out.
and you've created this incredible there's something so unique and new that you guys have created.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because it feels so normal to all of us. And
Yep.
yet when you talk about it with other people, not all other people, I mean, you get it, a lot of my friends get it,
Yeah.
but some people on the outside,
Oh, sure.
they cannot figure it out. And my mom, bless
Oh,
her
yeah.
soul, she died a few years ago. She could never figure out what the hell was going on with us because I'd say, well, we're going up north. Well, who's we? Well, Ryan and the kids and I. You're going on vacation with your ex-husband? I was like, yeah. She could not fathom it.
Oh, no.
And to us, it just felt like it was lovely.
You know, it's kind of like, again, like it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, it's just how you create the divorce, how you go about the
Yes,
divorce, right?
yes,
This
yes.
anger thing that your mom and a lot of people have. Again, it's that idea of, okay, how do we make this? Let's address the elephant in the room, right?
Right,
This isn't working for whatever reason, right? It could be anything.
right,
And then how to work through that in a
right.
way that's good for everyone. It's not the end of the
Yeah.
world. It's
What I've come to realize over the years is that that was the greatest gift we could have given to our kids was to remain positive. We never talked about each other negatively in front of the kids.
Yeah.
We decided that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so if we had issues, we would talk them out. Wasn't about the kids, it was about what we need to figure out. So I think it's just so important to remember you're a unit as a family, right?
Mhm.
And things are going to happen. People are going to come in, people might go out, but what you are is a core unit that's so important. And you can let things affect it or not. That's really a choice.
I love it. So like protecting that core unit,
Yes,
protecting it, and then something something new and amazing can come out of that.
absolutely.
And I mean, I know your
Absolutely.
kids and they're so well adjusted and they love their family. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you guys are just you're just amazing. So
Oh,
I'm glad we got
thank
to
you.
discuss this topic together.
Absolutely.
So in closing, thank you for being here today
Thank you very
and sharing
much.
this very personal experience. Hopefully it brought some hope and compassion to those struggling. And certainly, I think we had a little bit of a laugh too,
As always.
as always. And you'll come back and we'll do another segment on something else that because we've been through a
Perfect.
lot, you and I. We could go on and on. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. And those who are listening, who may be listening, you can subscribe by hitting the subscribe button or hit the like button to support this podcast. And we'll see you again soon.
You're going on vacation with your ex-husband?